This is crazy, but the 2020 presidential election is in exactly 365 days. Yeah, that's right. At this time next year, you will be watching TV and saying, oh shit, I was supposed to vote today. But we still don't know who Trump's opponent will be on election night. So let's catch up on all of his rivals in the Democratic primary race with our ongoing segment, World War D. Over the past few weeks, the Democratic herd has thinned considerably. You know, due to low polling, due to fundraising problems, and partly because of that lion that keeps picking off the trailing candidates. They need to do something about that. But this weekend came the biggest name to drop out so far, Beto O'Rourke, former Texas congressman and inflatable man outside a car dealership. And if you missed his dropout speech, it was very moving. It was like, it is with a very heavy heart that I announce my campaign is finished, bro. But on the opposite end of the spectrum is Elizabeth Warren, who has been surging in the polls. She's right behind Biden nationally. She's leading in Iowa, and she's polling at 100% among registered cardigans. But the one big criticism of Warren is that she hasn't explained how she would pay for her Medicare for All healthcare plan without taxing the middle class specifically. So this weekend, she showed us the money.
Elizabeth Warren is today putting a price tag on Medicare for All, $20.5 trillion in new spending over 10 years, paid for by taxing billionaires and big business.
I have a plan that shows how we can have Medicare for all without raising taxes 1 cent on middle-class families.
Warren would eliminate all private employer-based insurance. How would she pay for it? Employers would pay the government almost $9 trillion over 10 years, similar to what they now spend on employees' health care. She would boost her billionaires' wealth tax, impose a new tax on stock trades, higher taxes on investment gains for the top 1%, and cut military spending.
Yes, to pay for her plan, Warren plans to raise taxes on the ultra-wealthy and cut military spending, which, if you think about it, actually doubles the health care benefits, because all Americans would get health care, and people in Afghanistan won't get droned. And be like, oh, I feel so much healthier now that I haven't been blown up. Yay! And if you're a billionaire, you're probably not happy at the prospect of having to pay more taxes. You know, in fact, what Warren should do is try and sweeten the deal and let the super rich get naming rights over the health care that they help pay for. Yeah, so then instead of getting a heart transplant at the hospital, someone will get Jeff Bezos Presents a heart for Bob Sullivan. So that's Warren's plan, to pay for Medicare for all. But her Democratic opponents responded the way Sean Spicer does to a beat. They were hearing none of it.
Elizabeth Warren under attack, defending her plan for Medicare for all. Mayor Pete Buttigieg is questioning Warren's math.
Well, the math is certainly controversial.
Bernie Sanders also weighing in, telling ABC News, quote, I think the approach that I have, in fact, will be much more progressive.
Former Vice President Joe Biden calls Warren's plan unrealistic.
I promise you, you couldn't even get it passed.
Oh, how about some personal space, Joe? Even when Joe Biden isn't giving you a massage, he looks like his eyes are giving you a massage. But yes, Warren's Democratic rivals all have different issues with her plan. Biden says it goes too far. Bernie says it doesn't go far enough. And Tom Steyer was like, oh, thank God, someone asked me a question. Now, unless you're an economist, it might be hard to know whether Warren's plan is achievable or not. But what's easier to understand is the effect it would have on the insurance industry. It's estimated that 385,000 people could lose their jobs under her plan, right? But don't worry, Warren says they'll land on their feet.
Some of the people currently working in health insurance will work in other parts of insurance, in life insurance, and auto insurance, and car insurance. Some will work for Medicaid.
Damn, Warren doesn't mess around. She's just gonna move people around to another job? No, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that easy. So someone who works in health insurance now is just the next day going to be dealing with cars? That's going to get confusing. Just like, hi, I'm calling to let you know you're fully covered for your recent prostate exam. You mean my oil change? Hey, it's your body, whatever you want to call it. That's your decision. Now, I feel bad for anyone in private insurance who's scared of losing their job. But on the other hand, screw private insurance. I'm sorry. Insurance companies are assholes, man. Not the people who work for them, but the companies. They ask you what's wrong with you so they can charge you more, then they won't even cover your appendix surgery, and then you're like, why did I even get my appendix enlarged in the first place, you know? I mean, it makes me feel more confident, but was it worth it? I don't know. And you know what, I'll be honest with you. What I really found interesting over the past few days is that Elizabeth Warren's healthcare plan has been dissected from every angle. It won't cost $20 trillion. It could get closer to $30 trillion. The IRS enforcement can't get that much money. She's gonna ration your healthcare. Everyone is dissecting the thing, which is good. But what's funny is that Trump ran for president, and he got into office, and his healthcare plan was a lot less specific.
We have to come up, and we can come up with many different plans. In fact, plans that you don't even know about will be devised. I am going to take care of everybody. You will have the best health care you've ever had.
We're going to bring down the price of health care. We're going to bring it down big league. Big league.
It's a complicated process, but actually it's very simple. It's called good health care.
Yep, you can't argue with those numbers.